Hi everyone, welcome to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Laura Nerbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I love popping on every Tuesday at noon and showing you a little project or product that I've been playing with. And this week I have a fun fold for you that I used a suite from our new 2025 mini catalog. So this card is an easel card, also known as a side step card. So whatever you're looking up, you can probably find directions for it in both places, but it is surprisingly easy to make. So I'd love to walk you through how you can do that. And then before we start, I'm just going to show you where you can find the products for these cards, which is on page 43 of that little January to April mini catalog. Let's see if we can, there we go, looks like that. So I am sad to say we're probably drawing to a close of our time with this suite, but I have had so much fun with it. If you follow my videos weekly, you'll have seen this card, this paper show up in a few cards and even a set of 3 boxes. So make sure to go check out the full tutorial list and like and subscribe to my channel so that you can see all of the fun stuff that I've made with the Wildflower Birthdays suite. Today I'm specifically focusing on the Wildflower Birthdays designer series paper. I did use a sentiment from the birthday celebration set, but of course you can sub that out for anything else that you'd like. You probably don't want to though, because this adorable little banner really does make the project. So let me show you how to do it. If you like, you can follow along with me, or you can come back later. All the measurements for the card are in the description as well. So we're starting with a piece of Pool Party designer series paper. This is going to be our base, and we've cut this at 5.5 by 8.5. Then we need to do 3 score lines. Let me turn this, this way. We're going to do our first score line at 1 1/4, 2.5, 5.5. So I'll give those to you one more time. 1 1/4, 2.5, and 5.5. Now this 5.5 line, this is where we're going to make our first fold. We're going to make that into a nice mountain peak. Okay, let's just make this into a great mountain. If you've got your take your pick tool, or your bone folder, you can flatten this nicely. I don't know where mine went, it ran away. So I have a nice little mountain. Now I'm going to make a valley. Okay, so pop this one up. Again, if you've got your bone folder, nice crisp line is ideal. And then the last line, we're going to make one more mountain. So this will make sense once I show it, when it's nice and opened. And at worst, you folded one thing the wrong way, and it's okay. We can just quickly turn that valley into a mountain. If you're looking at something like this, and you're like, Laura and I have 1 mountain and 2 valleys, turn her over. You have 2 mountains. Okay, so large mountain, mini mountain. This is what we need. We're going to do a little bit of cutting now, and I'm going to walk you through all the pieces that you need to cut for this base. Then we'll talk about the front flap in a minute. So 3 things that we need to cut. We're going to grab yourself a piece of basic white. This is going to go on the inside of our card, like so. And this piece is going to be cut at 2 3/4 by 5.5. Before I add it in, I'm going to stamp, but I am going to get you to cut 2 more things while you're at it. We're going to cut a piece of designer paper for the front panel. We'll have the same measurements as the white, so 2 3/4 by 5.25. And then one little panel, you can see it hiding right here, that's for the front of your small mountain. It's going to be 1 inch by 5 1/4. We can attach these 3 pieces now, and then we will have to do one more cutting job. Before I attach my white though, I thought it was cute to add in a little banner, which is hiding. There we go. There's my little banner set. I've got my Pool Party ink. because we're matching the pool party paper. And I like to do this before I glue it to the card. In case I make a mistake, it's very easy to flip this over and just try again, or at worst, cut myself a new piece. So there's my banner. I'm happy with it. It will lighten a little bit as we go, and you can always come back later and add multiple banners all the way across if you really wanted to. We're going to attach this with a flat adhesive. So I am a double-sided tape girl. You can use glue, you can use seal, whatever your preference is. I'm going to put that on the very inside of the card. Should be a little blue border all the way around. Now, if we close our card, we have a large panel. If you've guessed, we're going to put this scalloped piece on there. Now, people have asked, is there a right or wrong way to put this piece? And the answer is no. You can have what looks like a little banner if you face the scallops this way. If you pop them up, it kind of looks like fun clouds and a little scallop border. So either way, it's completely up to you. I think I'm gonna go with the banner look because we're in party mode. And once again, a flat adhesive to add that on. The party does blend really nicely, the background. There we go. We're not putting anything in this middle skinny piece. That middle skinny piece is hidden. Nobody's gonna see it. If you really are desperate to make it beautiful, you can cut yourself a second piece of 1 by 5 1/4, but you really don't have to. Nobody is going to be judging. It's not necessary, and it's kind of a waste of paper. So we're going to put this piece on the section we do see, which is the front of the mountain. So not the back, the front of the mountain. And whichever way you decided to face these scallops, you should probably copy it on this panel as well. Now you're going to put this base to the side for a few minutes. We need to cut a few things that make up our front panel, but we don't need this in the way. Okay, so move that over. Here's where we get to start from scratch, and we're going to cut a whole new piece of pool party. This guy here, that's going to be what we use to make this little easel. And here we go. So the pool party is going to be 3 1/2 by 8 1/4, and we're putting a score mark at 4 1/4. Hold on. 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. Sorry, I gave you the wrong one. 3 1/2 by 8 1/2. Score at 4 1/4. That will just get folded in half. You don't need to do anything with it at the moment. We're going to now cut a foil sheet. That's going to be this pretty piece on the front. The foil is going to be 3 1/4 by 4, and you've noticed already that I have a giant hole in it. It's because I don't like to waste my designer paper or my foils, so I used these framed scene dies, the larger of the two ovals, and I chopped a hole in there. So it is rather small compared to what you see online. If you see anything on here that you do like, my website's listed at the bottom, and I'd love to be your demonstrator if you need one here in Canada. But that's the oval I used. While the ovals are out, you can go ahead and cut a white one using the small oval, and that will just give you a nice layered option for later on in our project. But we're not done cutting. We need one more piece of designer paper, and I chose the beautiful cakes. This is going to be 3 inches across the top by 3 3/4 long. So if you've got a directional piece, just make sure you're doing 3 inches across the top and 3 3/4 this way, because if you did it this way, you'd have sideways looking cakes and you'd be very sad. Okay, to assemble these guys, we're going to put our cake piece on top of the foil using something flat, tape or seal. Then we're going to use some dimensionals to give it a little bit of life. Nobody sees that you chopped an oval out of here. See, it's all hidden. Nobody's going to notice. Turn it over. Add some dimensionals to the back. And you can go ahead and put this onto the front of your panel. At this point, both of the panels are exactly the same. Doesn't matter which one's the front. You're going to just add that to the front of one of them. Okay, let's save this for a moment. So I'm going to move it out of our viewpoint, and we're going to worry about attaching this piece to the card base. So I'd like you to open it up, and we're going to start by putting adhesive on each of these ends. So I'm going to use tape just because I find it easy for you guys to see, and also it won't stick to other things as we're working. I have one piece on both ends at the moment. Now I want you to find out which side has your cake on it, and we're going to put a second piece right next to the first. You want them nice and close because we only have this strip of designer series paper to attach this to. You don't want it to be up here because it will end up covering into this middle section and kind of closing your card up. But this is what you should have at the moment. Two very tight pieces on the back of your cake section, and then one piece on the opposite end. I'm going to take the backings off just the cake side, and I'm going to bring my base here for a second. Now here's where you get some freedom of choice. You can decide to copy this one where I've moved my little panel kind of off to the left hand side. You could go opposite and you could attach it closer to the right hand side. Or if you want to be really, really crazy, I'm going to make a third option, and I'm going to put this right in the middle as long as I have this pool party attached to the bottom and it's the same measurements or lined up to this bottom panel here. That's good enough. Okay, these two are now attached, so it's going to look different and we're going to modify it. It's okay, but then you have options. Turn this over, and we need one more piece of adhesive. That adhesive is going to go on the back of your card at the top here, but it's going to rest in the section that the easel will cover. Okay, so I wouldn't move my tape down here because the easel paper is not touching this. I wouldn't move it up here for the same reason. I'm only going to put it up in this top section because this easel back panel, when it folds down, will touch that and touch the bottom and connect both to make a really sturdy card. Okay. When you're happy, you can take this off. You don't need any more adhesive and just leave this flat. Line up the top part and then the bottom part. And what you should be left with is this kind of mountain range feature. Okay, we have some stamping to do. So we're going to move this out of the way and grab our small white little oval. I love the birthday celebration stamp set. I think it's got some really great fonts to it. You can kind of mix and match, and you could say happy birthday to you. All of that, of course, will not fit on this tag, but you could say happy cake day. You could say cake day. I liked the Make-A-Wish. It fits. I didn't have to play with the pieces, but it is a fun set for you to play in the future. The ink that I grabbed is Blueberry Bushel, because believe it or not, that is the blue color that's hiding in this set. But some of the other colors, of course, you could grab Pool Party, you could grab Peach Pie, pretty in pink. You can grab the green, which is old olive. So whatever you like, you're gonna grab those. Make a wish. Close this so I don't get inky and look like a Smurf. There we go. On the back of your white oval, we are going to add a couple dimensionals. Pop this up. There is a slight little ring that the die makes. I know you can't really see it. The gold likes to blind you on my camera. But we're going to put that just inside that ring. And then we will pop this up on dimensionals too, but you have to decide where those dimensionals go depending on where you placed your card. So for my friends who decided to slide this over to the left, you're only going to put a dimensional under the words make, or like the MWA. You could put a dimensional under this left-hand side. For my friends who decided to scooch it over to the right, you are putting your dimensionals kind of under the H or even towards the S, somewhere under here. For myself, this is where we get crazy. I could offset this, or maybe I could try putting it right in the center. I like that. I think I will put it right in the center. So I do not have to choose where to put my dimensionals. They can go on the back. And we're just going to center this whole sentiment right on the card. There. And there's your options. So centered like I did, off to the left, to fan these out, and off to the right. Kind of look fun depending on which theme you're going for. So whatever you like. Same fold, but very different designs. Also, the fun thing with this fold is if you don't have the materials that I showed you, the designer paper or the stamp, you can use anything else. Just switch out the color base and the designer series for something you own. I didn't use any decals that are like a flower or die cut. All you need is a sentiment of your choice and a color palette of your choice. So I hope that you give it a try. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Tune in next Tuesday for another edition of Show Me How It's Done. And if you're in Canada and don't have a demonstrator, reach out. I'd love to get you the new catalog and touch base about any questions that you might have. Bye!